Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. And in this video we are going to make a very interesting project. We are going to make our own GPT, and here you can ask your questions just like you do to random GPTs like ChatGPT 4 or ChatGPT 3. So as you can see here, I have asked some questions. I have asked some random questions and also some mathematical questions as well, and it has given me a proper answer for that. So this is what we are going to make in this small tutorial. So this will be a very interesting project for you all to build. So let me show you how this is working, and then I'll tell you what technologies I have used to make this GPT, and then we can start with our tutorial. Okay, so let's go below and ask some more questions. So let me ask, what is time? Can you define it? So a simple science question. Okay, so this is the response from our GPT, and as you can see we are using GPT-10, so we are pretty advanced in this case. So this is the response given by our GPT. This is quite a big response. So this is how it is working. Let me ask, can you summarize it? Okay, so let's see. Okay, this is the summary of the previous response. We can also ask, can you give me a report what we have discussed so far. So this also remembers what we have discussed so far. So this will give us a report in bullet points. Okay, so we only asked for the report, and here is the report. Now let's create one more chat over here. So we can click on this. We will be redirected to the home page, and then we can ask, let's see, what is the mass of sun? Okay, sun. And this is the new response, and here as you can see we have the new note over here. So this is how it is working. Now I'll tell you what we have used here. So we have used Convex for the database. This is a real-time database, so anything changed in the database will automatically be fetched to on the front end side and render immediately. So this is a real-time database. Then we have used Clerk for the authentication, and then we have used Together.ai for our API that we have used for this GPT, and also we have used Shadcn for the UI. So in brief, these are the things we have used to make our GPT here. So without further ado, let's get started and start making this project. So now let's start making an application, and first we need to install the Next app. For that, write npx create Next app. Now the project name will be GPT-10. Okay, we are going to have GPT-10 here, and yes, app router, yes, and install. Now this is going to take a while, and for the time being, let's go here, open the Shadcn. This is the UI library that we are going to use here. Okay, and also let's open the Clerk here for the authentication. Okay, so now let's go here, and we have successfully installed our Next application. Go to the project directory and start the server. Okay, so our server is ready. Let's go to the page.tsx, remove this main tag from here, write a div, then go to the global.css, remove this css. Now let's go to the Shadcn installation, Next.js, copy this, open a new terminal, cl gpt10 and install that. We are going to use the default styles and then neutral base color. Okay, then yes. Wait a bit. Okay, so the Shadcn is installed. Close this. Let's go to the components and let's install a button. Okay, so install this and let's import that here. And now we have a button over here. Remove this closing tag and write hello. So this is working. Okay, so we have successfully installed our application and also set up the Shadcn. Now next step would be to add the authentication. So go to the Clerk dashboard, add a new application, name will be GPT10 and I'm going to use Facebook and GitHub. If you want to add some more options, then you need to upgrade to the premium account, but we are going to go with these three options. Let me inspect it so that you can see the whole screen. Then create application. Now they have given some instruction to set up this in our project. So first we are going to install the Clerk Next.js. Then we are going to get these keys and paste it inside our .env .local. Okay, so paste it here. After that we are going to add a middleware. So this should be inside our source directory, and if you are not using the source directory then you can simply add it here. Okay, but we are using the source here, so we need to add the middleware inside our source.ts. And the last thing that we need to do is to add the Clerk provider. Okay, so go to the layout.tsx and add it here. Import that. Okay, so copy and paste here, remove this. So with that we have set up our Clerk. Now if I refresh this, you can see nothing's happening here, and the reason is that right now this middleware is not acting on any routes. That means this is not protecting any routes right now. So to protect the routes, we need to create some protected routes and then pass inside the Clerk middleware. So for that we are going to import one more thing, which will be create route matcher. Using this we are going to define some routes that need to be protected. So at protected routes, then use the create route matcher. This will take array, and inside that we can give the routes that need to be protected. Save, and after that we are going to work inside the Clerk middleware. So define a callback function here, and inside that we are going to check for the protected routes. So if the protected route matches with the current URL that the user is on right now, so for that case we are going to check for the authentication of the user, and if the user is not authenticated, then we are going to redirect the user to the sign-in page. So now let's save, and as you can see we have been redirected to the sign-in page. So now let's sign in. Actually there was some problem with the browser that I was using. So as you can see here, in this browser actually I think there is some problem. I need to delete the cache from here. So I opened the server in a new browser and this is working fine. So let me show you one more time. So I'm going to use the user button from the Clerk Next.js. Okay, so now I have a user button over here. Let's sign out from here. Okay, and now I have been redirected to this sign in page. Let's sign in. Okay, and this is working fine. So with this we have completed our Clerk setup as well. So once again, if you are facing the same problem that I was facing, then you can change the browser or delete your cache to solve the problem. Okay, so now with this we are done with our Clerk setup, and the last part that we need to do is to add our project to the database. And in this case we are going to use a Convex database, which is a real-time database. So go to the Google and search for the Convex, and this is a real-time database. So anytime the data updates in a database, it automatically get fetched to the front end, and you'll see the real-time data on your front end. So this is a great tool for the applications that rely on real-time data. Okay, so you need to log in with your GitHub account here, and I have actually already logged in with my GitHub account here. So I'll just close this, and after that I'm just going to create a new project here. I'm going to call it GPT-10. Okay, and after that go to the settings, then project settings, scroll down, and this is the command that you need to copy and paste in your terminal. But before that we need to install the Convex here. So that npm I convex, and this will install our package for the Convex. After that paste this command, and this will generate the Convex API keys and everything in your .env.local file, and also generate a Convex folder here. Okay, and okay, so yeah, that's it. This is all you have to do to connect your project to your database. And now let's go back again to the data, and if I go to the .env.local file, you can see now we have new keys here. Now after that we need to connect our database to the Clerk. So these two need to be connected. Okay, and if you search for Clerk Convex, you'll get a good documentation here from the Clerk as well as from Convex to integrate both of them. Okay, so let's read the instruction from here and integrate the Clerk and the Convex. So we have done this and this. After that we need to go to the JWT template in the Clerk dashboard and create a new template, and here you will see the Convex. So select this and then save. Okay, now here you will see that this is saying that you need to copy this issuer URL from the Clerk So open this again. We need to copy this and we need to make a file inside the convex auth.config.ts. So let's go here, make the file auth.config.ts, then copy this and paste here. After that you go to the dashboard, then the JWT template, and you need to copy this issuer URL and paste it here and save, and now the error will go away. Okay, after that what we need to do here, we need to install the Clerk React here. We have already installed the Clerk Next.js, but we also going to install the Clerk React. And the reason for that, we need to make a new provider here. Okay, so let's go to our project, and inside that make a folder named components. Okay, so we already have a folder components, so inside that make a folder named providers, and then write Convex Clerk provider.tsx. Now let's go again here. We need to copy this. Okay, so let me do something like this. Okay, so copy this and paste here. After that, let's define our provider here. So that const export const convex client provider. Okay, so arrow function. Now this will have a children. Okay, and the type of children will be React node. So React node. Okay, now inside this we are going to return the function, and inside here we are going to first get a Clerk provider. Now this Clerk provider will need some things. So the only thing that this need is the publishable key, and this is going to be equals to process.env dot next public Clerk publishable key. And add an exclamatory mark at the end. Okay, now inside this we are going to have our Convex provider with Clerk. So that Convex provider with Clerk, and this will require the client and the use auth. So let's define the client here. Const client is equals to new Convex client, so Convex React client, and inside that we are going to provide another key which is going to be next public convex URL, which is inside our env file. So process.env, and add an exclamatory mark here as well. After that add the client here. Client will be equals to client, then use auth, and this will be equals to use auth. And lastly we are going to have our children over here, and with this our Convex Clerk provider is ready. Now let's save and go to layout.tsx, remove this and add the Convex client provider and wrap it around this HTML. Save this and this will work in the same way. Okay, so let's refresh and we have a problem here, and the problem that we are getting is the provider should be a client component. Okay, save this and this should work in the same way. Okay, missing publishable key, you can get it. Okay, let me check if I have the key or not. Okay, this should be key, and as you can see we are still getting our user over here. Everything is working as the way we wanted, and we have also integrated our database to the Clerk. Okay, you might not see anything right now here, but you have successfully added the Convex to the Clerk. Okay, so now you can access the user inside the Convex. Okay, so let's make some schema for now here, schema.ts. So here you need to be careful about the file name convention here. So the schema should be inside the schema.ts file. Okay, so now let's define the schema over here. So that schema.ts, and let's import the define schema from Convex server, then define table, then import v from Convex / values, and now let's define our tables. So export default define schema. Inside that we are going to define our tables. So first will be note. Okay, define table. Okay, so inside this object we are going to have the title. This will be one of the field, so this will be a type of string, v.string, then user ID. Okay, and this will be a type of string as well. Now we are going to define index so that we can search this node. Okay, and we want to search this node based on the user ID, so we can add by user and then pass the value, reference value. So this will be the user ID. Okay, and now we will be able to query this node with the help of ID as well as with the help of user ID. Now with this we are done with one table. Now next table that we want to have here is chats. So define table. Now this will have the node ID, and this will be type of v.id, and this will be type of this. Okay, this will look something like this. Okay, then we are going to have data, which will be type of string, and then we are going to have user ID. This will be a type of v.string. Lastly we are going to have by. So this by value will save either this message is from the user or from the chatbot. Okay, for that we are going to define an enum here. So that const by enum value, or you can write chat is equals to v.union, and inside that we are going to have two values, v.literal, and this will be user. Then we are going to have v.literal bot, and then pass that value here. After that we are going to define the indexes. So first index will be by node, so we want to query this by the node ID. Okay, and then second would be by user. So we can just copy this from here and paste here, and that's it. Now if I save this, you'll see that it will automatically start the migration to the database. Okay, so now I have saved. So it has added some tables with the indexes these. Okay, so now if I go to a database, as you can see, now we have two tables here, chats and note. Okay, so with this we are done with our backend part for now, and now we are going to work on the front end part, in which we are going to define some components. Okay, so now let's go to the component, and first component that we are going to make is the side menu. Okay, .tsx. Now for the side menu we are going to need the sheet. So go here and install that, and install this. So after that, let's import that component here. So we can do that by copying this and paste here. After that, we are going to make a state over here. So that const open set open is equals to use state, and the type will be a boolean. Initial value will be false. Now let's go here and copy and paste this. Okay, now we are going to make some changes here. First, give this open value, and open value will be open, and on open change we are going to make the set open value to reverse its value. Okay, now here we are going to change the trigger icon. So I'm going to change this with this svg. You can get this from my GitHub. Okay, after that, inside the content, sheet content, we are going to give this a class name. Okay, and first give this a side value, and this will be left. Okay, now inside the class name, the width will be of 250 pixels, then p of 1, px3 flex and flex call, and justify between. Now after that, remove this title, and below this sheet header make a div, give this a class name of flex item center and justify between, and py2 and p2 and p2. Okay, now inside this we are going to have a span, give this a class name of, and on clicking this span we are going to make the set open to false. Now give this a class name of cursor pointer, and inside this we are going to have the same svg. Okay, now let's save and go to the layout.tsx, add this just right here. So side menu. Okay, save, and okay, so let's go again here, make this a client component, use client, and then go to the page.tsx, remove these two. Okay, so this is working. Now we need to go to the sheet, and actually we do not need this. Okay, we also don't need this. Okay, so after that, let's go to the side menu again. Below this span, we are going to have a link from next link. Give this a href, and this will be equals to slash, and give this a class name of cursor pointer, and inside that we are going to have one more svg. Okay, save this, and this will look something like this, and this will redirect the user to home page. Okay, and you can do one more thing, that okay, now after that, inside the sheet description we are going to do some changes. So let's make let notes is equals to an empty array for now, and we are going to map over this. So notes dot map, and this will have a link. Okay, href will be equals to slash chat slash okay note dot id. So let's give this type any for now. Okay, and here we are going to have a note. Give this a key value, key will be note dot id, and give this type of any as well. Okay, after that, give this a class name of p of 2 over bg neutral of 100 rounded lg and w full and block. Let's save, and okay, so let's write something new note, and okay, so we have a new note over here. After that, let's click on this, and this will direct to this page. So this is working. In the sheet footer, although we are not going to use it, I'm just going to add this for the UI. So inside the sheet footer, we are going to have a button. Now give this a class name of w full rounded lg, and then variant will be secondary, and inside that write upgrade. Okay, and here we can do one thing, that give this h screen. Okay, so let's inspect this and see what is happening here. So okay, so I think the problem is that we need these CSS. I think yes, we need these CSS again. Okay, and yeah, actually we do not need to remove these CSS, and everything is done. Okay, now we are going to make one more component here, and that would be chat tab. Okay, .tsx. So now let's directly work on the JSX part. So give this div a class name of p2 flex call justify between and h full. Inside that, make one more div. Give this a class name of flex grow overflow auto, and max w screen of LG, mx auto, and w full. Now inside this we are going to have a component named chat message, but for now let's just write chat message. Okay, after that, below this div, make one more div, give this a class name of flex item center space x3 and sticky bottom 0 and p of 3, max w of LG, mx auto, and w full. Now inside this div, make one more div, give this a class name of focus outline none, outline w will be full, then border of 1 pixels, then rounded 3xl, and then give this border color, so border neutral of 700, and flex item center and space x of 2 px3 bg background. And okay, so we'll fill this later, and then we are going to have a state over here, so we can make that here waiting response. So when we write in the input, we are going to wait for the response from chatbot. So for that we are going to making this state, so this will be a type of boolean. Okay, initial value will be false, and here we can write if the waiting response is true, then we are going to have pointer event none. Okay, otherwise we are going to do nothing. And after that, inside this div, we are going to have a text area. So let's go to the Shadcn and go get our text area, open the terminal, paste it here, close this, and then get the text area. Now we are going to define some fields over here. First, value, and this will be equals to input. So let's go above and make that state. So const input set input is equals to use state, type will be string, and initial value will be empty string. After that, we are going to use the disabled value, and if the waiting response is true, then we are going to disable the text area. After that, we are going to use the onChange function, and this will set the input state to e.target.value. After that, we are going to have a function on the key down. So on key down, we are going to have a function name handle key down. So let's go above here and make that function. So for now, this will be an empty function. Okay. After that, we are going to write a placeholder, and we can write message GPT 10. Okay, don't forget 10 here. Then add a class name flex grow, rounded 3xl, and border none, outline none, focus outline none and focus visible of outline none. Okay, then focus visible of ring 0, then focus visible transparent, ring transparent, and focus visible ring offset 0, then transparent, so BG will be transparent. Okay, after that, that's it for the text area. Now outside this div we are going to have a button, and this button we are going to use this for sending the message. Okay, we are also going to use the key, enter key, to send the message. Okay, so let's write this. We can write send. So we are going to use the send icon from LucidDirect. Now give this a class name of size 5 and stroke width of 2. Now inside the button, size will be of LG, then disable is equals to waiting response, and class name rounded full P2 W9H9 aspect square and flex item center text slate of 100. Now after that we are going to have on click function. So after that we are going to have on click handler. So on clicking we are going to start a function. So we are going to do two things here. So we are going to use curly braces, then we are going to first invoke the ask code function, and then we are going to make the set input to empty string. Now let's go above and define that function here. So like ask port. So with this we are done with just the UI part. So let's go to page.tsx and we can add this here, chat tab, and now we should have something over here. Okay, so let's go again and make this a client component, use client. So now we have this chat component. Similarly we are going to make one more folder here named chat, and inside that, okay, let's rename this chat, and then inside this make a dynamic route. Okay, again let's rename this, okay, chat, and then page.tsx tsrfc, and let's get our parents from here. So we are going to get parents, type will be parents. Inside that we are going to have chat. Don't write anything else instead of chat. If you write like slug, and this will be type of string, save, and if you go to chat something, this will work, but let's console our parents, it will not show anything here. Okay, so let's refresh this. So let's go first to the side menu and let's give this a key property 36. Okay, so I have given key. Let's add an index over here, index. number. Okay, so let's again go to the page.ts, add the params over here, params dot slug. So there's nothing, but if I change this to chat and this as well, now I should get some values. Okay, so okay, and also why we are not getting the values here, because this is a server component and we will get those value over here. Okay, so if you do not match the same naming here, okay, name, chat and chat, you will not get the params from here. Okay, so you need to make sure that this name is same as this value which you are getting from the params. Okay, so okay, now we're also going to add our chat tab over here. Okay, and now we have our chat tab. Now we are going to work on the chat messages component. So let's go to the components and make that component chat messages .tsx tsrfc, and then go to the chat tab, chat messages. Now this is going to take some values, so first will be waiting response. Copy this, paste here, and then it is going to take the note id. So note id, this will be equals to note id, and now let's add these props over here. So first will be the waiting response, this will be type of boolean, and the second will be note id, and this will be a type of id, and this will be a type of id of note. Now close this, and we are going to get the note id from our page.tsx, so we can add this here, and this will be an optional. So okay, so let's go again here and make this optional as well. Okay, and then add the note id here, and we can pass this as id note. So everything is set here and here as well. Okay, here we do not need to pass the params, but here we need to pass the params, note id, and this will be equals to params dot chat. Okay, so this is done. Let's go to the chat messages, and here let's write our j6. So give this table class name of p4 and flex call space y4, and then inside this we are going to map over the all chats. So let's define all chats, and this will be type of any is equals to an empty array. Now let's add a one over here. Okay, so let's map over the all chats dot map chat type of any, then index of number. Okay, now inside that make it, now give this a key property which will be index, and okay, and inside this we can write just message for now. After that, below this we are going to have waiting response. Okay, so let's write a waiting response and the node ID. So waiting response, if this is true, then we are going to give this a class name of p4 max w of 90%, then bg primary foreground and text black self and rounded tr3xl, rounded tl3xl and transitional duration will be of 300 milliseconds and type will be ease in out. And also one more thing, rounded bl of 3xl, and inside that we are going to have a component name spinner. Let's make that component here, spinner.ksx. Now first import the loader from Lucid React and then import CVA and type variant props. Okay, after that import cn and then we are going to define the spinner variants. So we can write const spinner variants, okay, is equals to CVA text muted foreground animate spin and then curly braces. Inside that we are going to write the variants. So first will be the size. First option will be default, that would be equals to h4 and w4. Second we are going to have sm of, let's copy this from here, paste, duplicate this, sm md and large. Then this will be 2 2 6 6 and 8 8. Then we are going to have the default variant, so this will be equals to size and size will be default. Okay, now let's define the interface. So interface is spinner props extends the variant props type of spinner variant empty object. Now we are going to export our spinner, so let's remove this and we are going to use the arrow function. So export const spinner size and this will be weird and this will be a type of spinner props. Now return the loader here and the class name will be cn and inside that we are going to pass the spinner variant with size value. Okay, now let's go here and remove this and write import spinner and right here. Okay, so with this we are done with our UI part. Okay, and now we are going to make them functional. So first thing that we are going to work on is generating the response from the chatbot. So now it's time to go to Together.ai. So we are going to use the API from Together.ai for our chatbot. Get started. Sign in with Google. Okay, so as you can see, we have $5 of free credits, and then we have our key over here. So I'm just going to copy this and paste inside my env file. And you also have to add this key inside your Convex database. So go to the settings, environment variables, add this key over here and the name. Okay, so I have added the API key, name will be this and value will be this. Why we are doing this? Because the Convex is going to take the key values from here, not from your local environment files. So you just have to add this here as well as in your environment file. Okay, so now we have this. So get started. Let's go to the models. Now here you can choose many models. They have different types of models: chat, language, embedding. We are going to use the chat model. Now they have many chat models, so we are going to go with the cheapest option. You can use this as well. So let's open this. Okay, so we are going to use this. Okay, this model. So now let's go to the Convex folder here, and let's make a file name message.ts. Now this file will interact with our Together API to generate the response. Okay, so now here we are going to import some things. So first we are going to import v from convex /values. Okay, and then we are going to import together, but before that let's install that. So go to the docs here and then install this package. So go to the TypeScript library and okay, so we just need to install this package. So open your terminal and write npm Together.ai. Now close this and import together. Okay, so just copy this from here. After that, yeah, let's start writing our function. So we are going to define our function: export const chat. Okay, and we do not write this as a simple function. We use methods that Convex provide here. So here we are going to use action. So whenever you interact with another APIs, like here we are using the Together API, you have to use action. Okay, so if I go to the Convex action here, so you can see here that whenever you use a third-party service to do some things like a Stripe, or here in this case we are using the Together, then you use the action constructor. Okay, so since we are using the Together API, so we are using the action here. If you want to directly interact with your database, then you might use mutation. If you want to query the database, then you are going to use the query. Okay, but here we are using the action, since we are going to use the Together API, and also we are going to interact with our database. Okay, so I hope you understand this. First will be the args, which typically means the argument that you are going to pass in the action, and the handler, which is going to in which you are going to write your logic for the function. Let's add the args here. So in the argument we are going to have text and define the type, which will be string. Okay, and then the note id, and the type will be v dot id, and then note. Okay, and add a comma here. Now after that we can write handler like this, or you can write like this for the asynchronous task. Okay, so like this. Now we can get the arguments in the handler function by writing args dot like this, or you can destructure them here, so like text and note id. Okay, so this way is much better, so I'm going to destructure them here. Now after that, what we are going to do, we are first going to make an instance of the Together API. So we can write const together is equals to new together, and inside that we are going to pass the API key, and this will be equals to process.env dot, let's go to the convex, this name. Okay, so this will be the API key. Now here I'm going to write a simple code just to test if this is working or not. So I'm directly going to generate the response. So I can write const response await together dot chat dot completion and dot create. Now inside the object we are going to pass the messages. Now this will be an array of object. First the role, so the system role. Now we have to define what system will do, that means what the chatbot will do for us. So we can write content here, and then we can write you are a smart chatbot who give response to the queries. Okay, queries. Now after that we are going to make one object, and inside this we are going to define another role, and this role will be the user. Okay, now we are going to pass the content. So here we are going to pass this content text, but just for testing I'm going to write what is the height of Eiffel Tower. I think the spelling is wrong, but that's okay. After that we are going to provide the model. So add a comma here and write model, and the model will be, we can go to here and copy this model name and paste it here, and that's it. Now after that we can just console the response clg and response. Okay, so now let's go and test this function if this is working or not, and let's make these optional for now. V dot optional, and here as well V dot optional. Now let's go to chat tab, and here we can import our action. So we can write const chat is equals to use action and write API dot message dot chat, and then we can call the function here chat. Okay, so and then empty object, since everything is optional, so we do not need to pass anything. Now let's save and go back to the browser, and let's try to refresh this. Okay, so I have the response from Together API. Let's refresh it one more time. So as you can see, it took a while to generate this response. So what we can do here, let's go here and let's change the model. So we are going to use this time. Now we are going to use this one. This one is a little bit expensive than this one, but I think the response will be much faster. So let's copy this and let's go to the chat and replace this. Okay, copy. Okay, now let's refresh this one more time. Okay, so now the response time, as you can see, is much faster. Okay, and this is what we wanted. Okay, so you can play around with the models here, and whatever you like the most you can add to your project. Okay, so now we are going to use this model, since this is much faster than the previous one, and we know that this is working now. So what we can do here, as you can see, this is giving this type of response, and what we want from here, we want this content and nothing else. So we want this content. Let's add a try and catch block here, and we can write if we have the response and we have response dot choices, and if we have response dot choices dot length greater than 0, and we have response dot choices 0 dot message, and we have response dot choices 0 dot message dot content. So we need to check for all these things, otherwise we will get a type error. This will not affect the functioning of this function, but this will give the type error. So we need to check for all this. Okay, and now here what we want to do, we want to save this content to our database, and for that they have given another function. So typically you use mutation and queries for the front end side. So if you define something here, let's say if you define something, say mutation, that means you was doing something to the database, then args, and then handler. Okay, so if you do something like this, you can access this function only from the front end side. You cannot access this function inside the other function, and for that we are going to use another function here, which is internal functions. Okay, so we are going to use this since we are going to work only on the backend. If you had returned this value to the front end, and then from the front end you wanted to save this to the database, you could have used the mutation function. Okay, but since we are not going to return this to the front end, we are going to directly save this to our backend. For that we are going to use the internal functions. Okay, so for that we are going to write another function here. So let's create a new file name, chat.ts. Okay, now let's go to the message again and copy these things. So here we are going to write the save chat function, and for that we are going to add one more thing here, which will be the internal mutation. We want to internally mutate the database. Okay, that's why we want the internal mutation here. Okay, so we can write export const save chat. Okay, and here we are going to write internal mutation. Now everything will be same. We are going to pass the args, and inside that we are going to pass the text v.string. Okay, this text is data, so we can write it like data for better understanding. Then by, so we can go to the schema and export this by enum. So now let's write by enum chat. So either it is going to be from user or from bot, and then the note id. So v.id and note. After that we are going to define the handler function, and we want this to be asynchronous, so we can write this like this. And let's destructure our arguments. So data by and then note id. Now we are going to check if the data is available or not, so we can write data. If this is not available, then we are going to just return null from the function. And here, as you can see, we can return something. Now let's get the identity of the user, which is the current logged in user, and we can get this by identity. So we can get the identity by await ctx dot auth dot get user identity. So since we have integrated the Convex with the Clerk, we can use this function to get the current user identity. Okay, and we can check if the current user or if the identity is not available, then we can throw a new error, and inside that we can write authenticated. Okay, now if we do have the user, then we are going to get the user ID from that identity dot subject. Okay, so this will be the user ID. After that we are going to check if we have a note with this note ID or not. Since as you can see here, we are using this note ID, but in actual database we do not have anything like this. Okay, so we are going to check this as well, if we have a node with this note ID or not. So we can write const existing node is equals to await ctx, and this time we are going to query the db. So get and then pass note ID. Okay, and this will give the note. Now after that we are going to check if we have existing note or not. So if we don't have existing note, then we are going to throw a new error saying note not found. And after all these checks, we are going to mutate our database. So we can use a try and catch here. First await ctx dot chat ctx dot db dot insert. Okay, then provide the table which will be chat and then the values. Now user ID, then we are going to give the data. Okay, 1 minute, I think. Okay, this should be data. Let's save this, and now we can write it data, and the third thing will be by and then node ID. So everything is good. Now if we do find any error, we are going to console that error while saving the chats and then return null. Okay, so this way we are going to save our chats. Okay, so now let's save this and go to the messages. So here we can write await ctx dot run mutation for running internal mutation. Then we are going to specify which mutation we want to run, so we can write internal. Okay, internal, we have to import that chat dot save chat. Okay, now we are going to pass the arguments that they need. So by, so this response is given by bot, so we have to write bot. Then text, so the text will be response dot choices dot message dot content. Okay, and if we do not have any content, then we can write it like this: no content received. Okay, now after that we are going to have the node id, and this will be equals to the node id. So let's remove this optional thing. Okay, now what this is saying, that I think we are passing the data here, na? Yeah. Okay, let's go to the chat tab and remove this for now. Similarly, we are going to save the text that we are getting from the user. So before this, we are going to save the text as well. So first we are going to check if we have text or not. So if we do not have the text, then we are going to simply return the function. Now if we do have the text, we are going to save this to database, cts run mutation internal dot chat dot save chat, and then pass the arguments. By will be user, then data, and data will be text, and then we can pass the node id. So with this we are done with this function for now. We are going to change this a little bit more, but for now this is fine. So let's close this, and now we are going to use this function. So we are not going to directly use it, we are going to make a hook for that. Okay, so let's go to the lib and we can write the hook. So inside the lib, make one more file name, use chatbot.ts. Now here we are going to import the use action, then import the id, then import the API. Okay, after that let's define that hook. So that const use chat Okay, now inside that, first we are going to get that chat function from our convex. So we can write const chat is equals to use action API dot message dot chat. After that we can return asynchronous function. So this will take the text value as a string, then node id, and this will be a type of id node. Then we are going to return this. So we are going to write const do chat is equals to await. Okay, so we are going to await the chat. Now inside that we are going to pass the text and the node id, and after that we are going to just return it. So return do chat. And lastly, we can write export default use chat. Okay, so now we can so now we have made the hook here. Close this and let's go to the chat tab. So now let's remove this and we are going to import the use chat hook, and from that we are going to get the chat. So we can write const chat is equals to use chat. Okay, now inside the ask what we can, now here we are going to define some conditions. So first we are going to check if the input is empty or not. So we can write it like this, input dot trim. So if this is empty, we are just going to return the function. Now if we do have the input, then we are going to check if we have note ID or not. Okay, so if we don't have the note ID, then we are going to create a new document. Okay, so we can write we have to create a new document here. So let's first make the set waiting response to true. Okay, after that we are going to make a new document or note. Okay, so we can write doc id. So after we make the document or note, we are going to get the note id from that. Okay, so we can write it like this, await. Okay, then we are going to define this function. Let's define this function first. Okay, so let's go convex, and here we can write note.ts. So let's write the create note function. So we can write export const create note, and this will use the mutation function. Okay, now the args will be title, which will be a type of v.string. So let's import the v. Now we are going to have the handler here, make it asynchronous. Okay, now inside this, first we are going to check for the identity of the user. So we can go to the chat and copy this, paste here, and remove this one. Now we are not going to use the full length of the title, so we are going to write const word is equals to args dot title dot split. Okay, after that we can write const limited text is equals to if word dot length is greater than 0, then we are going to use the word dot slice 0 to 10 and then join this. Okay, otherwise we are going to use the whole title. So we only want to save the title at max of 10 words. If this is more than 10 words, we are going to slice this. If it is less than 10 words, we are going to use the whole title. Okay, after that let's get the user id. So that const user id is equals to identity dot subject. Then let's make the note. So that const note id is equals to await ctx dot db dot insert note, and then pass the values. So title will be limited text, then user id, and then okay, nothing. And lastly we are going to return the note id. As you can see, this is a type of note id. Okay, now let's also define to delete this, export delete note. mutation, and then we can write like this, const args, and this will need the node id and then handler function. So copy this from here, first we are going to check for the identity, if the user is logged in or not. If the user is logged in, then we are going to just delete that node. So const node is equals to await ctx dot db dot delete and pass the node id. So args dot node id. Okay, so v dot id node, and yeah, nothing else. Also, let's define another function to get all the nodes so that we can show it on the sidebar. Okay, so let's write export const all nodes use query, and here now in the argument we are not going to have anything, so we can just write handler, or you can add the args here if you want to, and this will be empty, but we can just remove this and write. Let's check for the identity first, and after that we can get the user id. So we can write const user id, since we are going to get the all nodes based on the user id. We don't want to get the nodes for all the users, so we can get first the user id, then we are going to get the nodes, is equals to await ctx dot db dot query, and we are going to query the node, and then we are going to add the indexes. So index with index, and we are going to get the nodes by user and pass the value. So q dot equals of user id, and then pass the value which is the user id, and then after that you need to collect these, otherwise this will be just a promise, and if you collect, this will give you actual values. Okay, and then we are going to return it, return nodes. So with this we are done with all functions inside the node. Let's close this and go to the chat tab. Now let's uncomment this and we can write await create. So let's go here above, that const create is equals to use mutation api dot node dot create node. Now here we can write create and then pass the arguments. So this will be the title, and the title will be equals to input. Okay, and let's make this a asynchronous function. After that, now we have the node id, so we can chat with this node. So we can write await chat, and now let's pass the arguments. So first is the text, so here we can pass the input, then the second is node id, and the third is nothing. Okay, so we are only going to provide these, and okay, let's go here and see. id, okay, and we are getting id as a string, not id as a string, and here the node ID is this type. Okay, so if we are not getting any kind of error, then this is good. Okay, after that we are going to set the waiting response to false, and now we are going to redirect the user to this chat page. Okay, so why we are adding this condition here? Because if we don't have the node ID, that means we are on the home page. Okay, that means we are on the home page. So after the user get the response for the first query, we want that user to be redirected to that particular chat, and that's why we are going to redirect that user. So for that we are going to import the use router from next navigation. Then we can write const router is equals to use router. Then we can write router dot push and then pass chat, then that node ID. Okay, now else condition. So that means we are already on the chat page and we have the node ID. Then in that case we are just going to chat, and okay, so and now we have the type error. So here we were directly getting the node ID from our backend, so this was matching the type, but now we are getting the node ID from here, and this is the type of string, but we want it to be like this. Okay, not, and now the error is gone. And also let's set the waiting response to true and then false. Okay, and this is all we need to do for the ask bot function. Okay, now we are going to write this handle key down function. So let's make this here. Now this will also be a asynchronous function, and we are going to get the values from text area. So and this will be a type of react dot keyboard event. Okay, and then HTML text area element, and then inside this function, if e dot key is equals to enter and e dot shift key and e dot control key. Okay, so this condition checks if we have pressed the enter key without holding any of these keys, shift and control key. So if we press the enter, then this is going to ask the bot for the response. Okay, and if we press control and enter, then this is going to be in next line, then the caret will move to the next line like this. Okay, so we can write e dot prevent default, and then we can ask the bot, and then set input to false, not empty string. Okay, else if e dot key is equals to enter and e dot shift key, or copy this condition and paste it here, and we are going to add the or operator here, control key. Okay, so if these conditions are true, then we are going to write e dot prevent default, and then we are just going to be in the next line like this. Okay, so this is how it is going to work. Let's save this and let's see if this is working or not. We will not see the response here, but we will see if we are being redirected to the chat page. So let's write what is mango. Okay, as you can see, we get the response and we are being redirected to the chat page. Okay, so and also so this is working, and now we are going to add the notes over here. Okay, so that we can navigate. Okay, now if I click on this, I'll be redirected to the home page, and I will write what is you can say apple, and this will create a new note. Okay, now I have another response here, and this will create a new note which is going to be shown here. So let's render all the notes here. So let's go to the side menu, and we are going to change something. So notes is equals to, let's write const notes is equals to use query. So let's remove this and write const notes is equals to use query, queries query. Okay, API dot note dot all nodes, and then we are going to, okay, so we are getting all nodes, and then we are going to write if we have all nodes, then we are going to map over this and remove this and remove this dot id, and here we can write, and here we can write note dot title. Now let's save, and as you can see, what is mango, what is apple, this, as you can see, the URL has changed, and now we are able to navigate between these nodes. Okay, now the next thing will be to render our chat messages. Okay, so now we are going to render our chat messages. So let's go again to the messages here, not chats, and we are going to write one more function. Now let's define that function here. So that export const get chat by note id client. Okay, so query this. Okay, now we are going to provide the argument. So this will have the note id, and this will be a type of optional, since we are also using the message component on the home page, which does not have any kind of note id. That's why we are going to use the optional. So v.id, and then write note. After that, let's write the handler function. So that is like this, and remove these two. Now inside the handler, first we are going to check if the user is there or not. Okay, then we are going to get this. Okay, so okay, we are also going to check for the existing node, and yeah, remove this, and existing node optional. Okay, and we can write it like this: if the node id is not present, then we are simply going to return this function. So now if we do have the node, then we are going to get all the chats for that node. So we can write try and catch block, and inside that write const all chats is equals to await clicks dot db dot query dot, okay, so chats, and then we provide the indexes. So with index and we are going to use by node, then our function here q. So q dot equals to node id should be equals to existing node dot id. Okay, and now let's collect all these chats. Okay, after that return all chat, and if we find any errors, then we are going to console that error finding all chats, and then return null. Okay, so now we are done with the function. Now let's go to chat message component, and now let's remove this. Okay, so we can add const all chats is equals to use query, not queries, use query, and then pass API dot chat dot get chat by node id client, and then we can pass the props here. So first will be the node id, and yeah, just the node id. Okay, so that's all. And now this could be possibly undefined or null, so we can add or an empty array. Okay, and now let's remove this and this, and here we can write. Okay, so remove this as well, and here we can add some more things. So key we have already defined. Now after the key we are going to add a class name over here. Okay, p4 max width of 90%. Here I'm going to use ternary operator. So if chat dot by is equals to user, then we are going to have, okay, so then we are going to have bg secondary text neutral of 800 self start and rounded TL of 3 pixels 3 XL, rounded TR of 3 XL, and rounded BR of 3 XL. Okay, otherwise, so we can write like this. Otherwise we are going to have BG primary foreground text blue 950 self and rounded BL of 3 XL, rounded TR of 3 XL, and rounded TL of 3 XL. Okay, then we are going to go below, and here we are going to have our chat data. So chat dot data. Now we are going to use one more package, actually two more package, to render this data correctly, which will be npm i react markdown and date fns. Now let's close this and import the react markdown. Import react markdown. Okay, so we can write react markdown from react markdown, and let's wrap this around the react data or chat data. And now let's also render our time here. So we can use the small tag here for that, and then give this a class name. So we are going to use this syntax, and then self and, okay, and empty to flex and item center. Then we are going to use a ternary operator here to check if the chat.by is equals to user. So if this is equals to user, then we are going to write text. Okay, so text slate of 400 and justify and. Otherwise we are going to have text neutral of 500 and justify start. Now after that, inside this we are going to format the creation time. So we can use the format function from okay, let's import that first. So import format from and dateness. So we are going to import the format and then use it here. Now inside that we are going to use new date, and then we can pass the chat dot creation time, and then in what format we want this to be in this format. So let's write pp small pp. Okay, now let's save and go back to our browser, refresh the page. Okay, so as you can see now it is looking like this. Okay, so we have our question and the answer from the AI. Okay, so this is looking good. Let's try to write something else. So what is vinegar? Okay, enter, and now we have, oh yeah, so yeah, one thing that I forgot to change here, which is here. So we need to pass the text over here. So remove the content and pass the text, and now refresh the page. Okay, so we have a problem over here that unauthenticated side menu. Okay, so you might be facing this problem. If you're not facing this problem, then that's good, but if you are facing this problem, then I have solution for this. So let's see why we are facing this problem first. So I have console this is authenticated, which I am getting from the use convex auth, and this is coming false. Okay, and if I go to the side menu and let's comment this out and save this, and also let's go to here and comment this out as well. Let's refresh the page, and as you can see this is taking some time to check if the user is authenticated or not. Okay, and because of this we are getting the problem, because we are querying the nodes before we are being checked for the authentication. Okay, so we can write it like this. So I have right now commented this, so I'm going to uncomment this for now. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to do a small change here. We are going to make one more component. So this will be for nodes.tsx. Okay, make this a client component. Okay, now let's go to side menu and we can copy this, cut from here and paste it here. Okay, next go back to the side menu and uncomment this and cut from here and then paste here. Okay, inside the div. Okay, and then let's import the link from next link, and now we can add the condition. So if is authenticated is true, then we are going to get the nodes here, nodes. Okay, and let's see if this is working or not, and I'll just refresh it, and you can see that I'm not getting any kind of error now. Similarly, we can do for the chat tab. Let's go here and let's uncomment this first, and let's see if this is giving us any kind of error. Okay, so this is not giving any kind of error. If I write something like hello, okay, so now I have been redirected to this page. Let's refresh the page. Okay, so now we have this error. Okay, so let's go to the chat, and so we are getting this error from the chat message. So we can go to the chat tab, and we can use the same technique here. Copy this and paste here, and if we are authenticated, then we are going to get the chat message. Okay, so let's refresh, and now we have our chat messages again, and we do not see any kind of error, and we also have our nodes here. Let's create one more node. So when I click on this, I'll be redirected to the home page. What is apple pie? And this is the apple pie. Now I should have another node here, which is this. So now everything is working, and we do not have any kind of error now. Okay, and let's go to the side menu again, and let's give this a padding of 2. Okay, now let's go to here. Okay, now let's write what is vinegar. Okay, and this is the response that we got. Okay, now let's go to the chat tab, and we need to do one thing here, that h full should be h screen. So we want always this to be at the bottom. Okay, now let's go to here, and as you can see, this is at the bottom. Now as you can see, if I ask this, give me summary of previous response. Okay, previous response, this will not give me that summary, and the reason being is that this bot does not know what we have discussed so far. Okay, so we have to also send these chats along with a new query, so that we can ask these kind of questions. Okay, and so that this can also remember our previous conversations. Okay, and also one more thing, that in the chat messages we are going to do one more thing, that so whenever we get a new response, this should slide up. Okay, so we need to add this as well, and for that we are going to use a use ref. Okay, so we can write const message ref is equals to use ref, and this will be a type of HTML div element. Initial value will be null, and now we are going to define the function so that it can scroll to the bottom. So we can write const scroll bottom. Now inside that we are going to write message dot current dot scroll in view. Okay, and then behavior should be smooth. Now also you need to add the block to nearest, and then inline start. After that we are going to use effect to invoke these functions. So use effect. Okay, so then in the dependency array we are going to write all chats, and then here we can write if all chats dot length is greater than 0, then we are going to invoke this function. Now let's save, and okay, let's write who is best footballer. Okay, so we have the new response. So this is not working. Okay, let's refresh it again. Okay, the problem is that actually we need to assign this ref to one of the div element here. So for that we are going to add a div just below here. Okay, so we want this to scroll down to this particular div. Okay, so we are going to use self-closing div and then provide the ref here and pass the message ref. Okay, and now if I write what is an aeroplane, just a simple question. Yeah, so now this is working. As you can see, this automatically slides down as we get the new response. Okay, so this is good. Now what we need to do is we need to make sure that this bot remembers this chat that we are having right now. Okay, and for that we are going to pass the all chats to the message function here. Okay, so let's go here and define one more function, and this will be internal query. So I'm just going to create one more function named export const get all chats by note, and then this will be internal query since we are going to use this in the backend. Now pass the argument, and the argument will be this. Then we are going to get the handler function, and then we can copy all this, paste here, and we are going to do some changes. Okay, so until here this is going to be same. After this we are going to make a paragraph using all these chats. So we can write const paragraph is equals to all chats dot map chat, and from chat we are going to get data, and then we are going to join this. Okay, \n. Okay, after that we are going to return the paragraph. Okay, now let's save and go to the message.ts, and here after the saving of our query we can get all the chats here. So const all chat is equals to await ctx dot run query and internal dot chat dot get all chats by note, and then pass the note id. Okay, and then from there we are going to make a variable name let final text. Okay, Now if we don't have the all chats, that means we do not have any kind of chat. So we are going to make the final text is equals to text, else we are going to concatenate the final text is equals to all chat plus text, and then we can pass this here, final text. Now let's save and go back here. We can refresh the page, and now let's try to ask the summary of this conversation. So we can write what we have discussed so far. Okay, so as you can see, we had a great conversation: mango, best footballer, and airplane. So can you tell me a place which have this all common? Just a random question. I don't know what question I'm asking, but whatever. So as you can see, this has given me the response based on the conversation that we had. Okay, so yeah, this is working good. Now let's go again. I'm going to create one more, you can say a note. So we can write, give me 5 superfood options. Okay, so this is how it is looking, and as you can see, I have been redirected to this page. Now I can ask some more questions. So what salmon is good for? Okay, and now we have the response. So everything is working. Now we have another note over here, and this is how it is working. We can do one more thing. We can actually add maybe we can add here the user button. Okay, so that user can manage their account. Okay, so we can do that as well, but I'm not going to use this. But if you want to, then you can actually add it here. Okay, so with that we are done with our project. We have successfully made our own GPT, and we can ask whatever question to this GPT. Okay, so this was the project, and hope you like the project. Now we are going to deploy this on Vercel. So I have created a new project on my GitHub, and now I'm going to push the code on the GitHub. Okay, so let's copy this. So git init, then we have to git add and dot. This will add all the files. Then git commit, and we can write GPT can first commit. Okay, then what we need to do, then we need to add a branch over here. We are going to add main branch, then we are going to add the remote origin, and then we are going to simply push. Okay, so copy and paste here. Okay, so now we have our code over here. Okay, so this is the code. Now what we need to do, we have to go to the Vercel. So now let's go here and create a new project. We have to import this project. So I'm going to import this, import. Okay, so let's confirm this. Go below and select the repo. Repo will be GPT-10, then save. Okay, now before deploying this here, we need to check the doc here, so we can write convex deploy. Okay, go here and then choose for the Vercel. Now for the Vercel we need to do some things. Okay, so we need to write a command, and now let's search for that. So GPT-10, and let's import this here. Now after that we need to change the build command over here, so you need to override this and we can write this command. So where I'm getting this command from, so I'm getting this command from Convex. So if you write Google Convex deployment, you will get this page, and open this and then go to the Vercel and you will see this page. So this has the instruction to how to deploy your project on the Vercel with the Convex. So we have added this command to the build command. Now we need the deploy key for the production. So we need to go to the Convex, and then so okay, we first need to change this to production, and then go to the settings, and we need this key. So now I'm going to copy this. So I have copied this key and open the environment variables. You need to add this key over here, and then the name should be convex deploy key. Convex deploy key. Okay. I don't think anything else we need right now here. Okay, and 3 more keys that we are going to use here is Clerk, publishable, secret, and the Together API key. So I'm going to copy that as well. So I have copied that, and I'm just going to first add this and going to paste that here, and this will take all the keys here. Okay, so these 4 keys I think we need for the deployment, and yeah, that's it. Also, okay, so we do not need anything. Also, let's copy this and go to the environment variables and add this key, Together API key. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this and paste here. So now let's deploy this, and now let's wait. Open the build logs and we'll see what is happening. So we have a warning over here. Apart from this, everything is looking good. We have generated our pages. We have 5 pages. These are dynamics and some of them are static. We also have added the tables, so we should have tables right now here. Okay, so we have tables, and this is deployed. Let's go to the dashboard, and so now let's open this. And as you can see, we are on the home page of our application. Right now we do not have anything here, so let's ask what is ChatGPT. Okay, so we should be getting our result. As you can see, we have gotten our result, and now we have a note here. Okay, can you summarize this? Okay, so let's wait, and this is the summarized version. Let's create one more. So let's go to the home page, then we can write can you write me a poem, just a random version. Yeah, So now we have a poem here and we have another note over here. So let's ask one more question. Last question. Please ask my viewers to subscribe the channel. Let's see what this is going to say. This is not the response that I wanted. But guys, with this we have completed our project and we have made a ChatGPT of our own. So if you like the video and if this was helpful to you, then do subscribe to our channel. And if you have any queries regarding this project, or if you're stuck anywhere in this project, then do comment in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to help you guys.